Hi guys, Lucy here. So spoiler, this video isn't actually just about Prosecco, but we get so many questions about sparkling wine, we thought we would cover all bases of sparkling wine. First up, we thought it would be good to cover how sparkling wine is made. It is mainly made in two methods. The first one is tank, where the fermentation which creates the bubbles happens in the tank. The second is called traditional method, where the fermentation that makes the bubbles happens in the bottle. First up, we are talking about tank method, which means we are on our way to Italy. As I'm sure you've all heard of, when we think about Italy, we think about Prosecco. The reason it's called Prosecco is because it's from Prosecco, the region, and it also needs to be made of Glera grapes. However, there is much more to sparkling wine in Italy than just Prosecco. For example, this guy, the JELMAS, this is very similar, made in the same way, but it's just not from inside Prosecco, therefore it can't be called Prosecco. Right, so we are on to traditional method, which means we're taking ourselves up to the kings and queens of traditional method, none other than the French. I think the French would probably kill me if I didn't start with none other than champagne. To put it simply, it needs to be made by the traditional method, and it has to be from within champagne, and it has to be made from one of 3 grapes or a blend of those 3 grapes. The French are pretty strict on their rules, but it is pretty much known as the king of sparkling wine, or the queen. But we don't all have a champagne budget, so what else can we get from the traditional method sparkling wines that is more affordable? First up, staying in France, we have a CRÉMANT. This is made in exactly the same way as champagne. The only thing is, it's not from Champagne, therefore they can't call it champagne. They're not as strict on the grape varieties. They tend to have a few looser rules, and you can get it from 8 different regions in France. We've covered the classic traditional methods, but you don't need to be in France to get this sort of sparkling wine. For example, this delicious South African, this is what they call a cap classique, which is just South Africa's way of calling it traditional method. Very confusing. This is made in exactly the same way, but it's usually made with South African grapes, which might give it a little bit more of a tropical flavour, and sexy label, and much cheaper. And finally, home to the motherland. None other than English sparkling. I might be a little biased, but I have to say, English sparkling is giving champagne a run for its money. It's made in exactly the same way, but we happen to have a really good climate for making it so that it actually tastes very similar to the good stuff.
Did you pop the ceiling?